Anybody speaks, can they come up here and I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to go.
Yes, man, it's around each other. You're on. We will call the drainage board to order August 29, seeing 4 or 5 minutes, 4 of 5 members present. We have a quorum, noting that Mr. Cox is not with us today. And first item on the agenda would be approval of minutes. Looks like Pat's looking at those right now.
I don't know the last name. Make a motion for approving.
Have a motion, Mr. Pinkerton.
Second.
Second, Mr. Goff. Any discussion, comments, editorial changes? Hearing none. All those in favor would say aye. Aye. That's carried unanimously. All right, we will move right on to claims, and Jim, if you'll walk us through our 3 different batches.
Okay, the first one, Chronicle Tribune, $40.68 on Nesbit tile, $6,137 in the fund. Chronicle Tribune, $27 on the Baker ditch, there is no fund. Chronicle Tribune, $27 on the Sweetser improvement in Enoch Lee, $96,355 in the fund. Grant County Treasurer, $1,080.85. This is a loan from the General Drain Improvement Fund to maintenance. B.E. Powell Excavating, $1,830 on the Cassius Smith drain. $1,873.36 in the fund. John's Repair Service, $807 on 50 cents on carries of Brushy Run. $5,075 in the fund. Redmond Excavating, $5,265 on Barron Creek, $26,030 in the fund. Amazon Capital Services, $63.79 for office supplies, $300 in the fund. IMI Stone, $386.27 on Luger Creek, $128,000 in the fund. IMI Stone, $2,019.25 on Luger Creek. Bragg Excavating, $2,435 on the Poe drain, $9,867 in the fund. John's Repair, $672 on Luger Creek, $128,000 in the fund. And John's Repair, and we're going to discuss this one today. We got into some bad tile that started to be replaced and ate up all the funds. We're at $10,290 on tile repair on Massey Creek, $8,837.97 in the fund. And it's bringing in a little piece of paper. You have.
You're done. The second page.
$8,837.97 in the fund. In the fall, it's gonna bring in another $1,438. It annually brings in $4,229. So it's on our list to discuss farther down here, because we're gonna have an estimate, and we need to keep going and repair a little bit more of that, and then it would bounce back into black. That's it on the first batch.
So just as notation, we're saying that if we approve Massey Creek on John's repair request, we will be going into the red on that particular line item right now.
Right.
Will it come out in the fall? Not quite. 1,400?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Quite.
Not quite, but then, they need to borrow more of that 4,000. We're gonna get into that here in a minute. The 4,229 that comes in next year. need a little bit of that, but then it would bounce back and be in the black next year.
What's the maintenance? How many dollars an acre?
Well, I don't have that right here. We're gonna have to discuss that later on. Or if you wanna discuss it now and get it out of the way.
I think if we discuss it just a little bit here, we want to make sure we're confident that we're not putting ourselves deep in a hole, but we're gonna see some daylight. I think that's probably what Gordon's after.
Yeah, it's $5 an acre, $10 home site. You know, brings in $4,229 a year. So we've got an estimate to hopefully fix the rest of the collapsed tile. Install up to 250 feet more of tile with 15-inch. And the estimate's $4,130.
With the money coming in, we'll be 14 bucks in the hole until we get to next year.
And then see, they're still wanting today to borrow another $4,130 out of general fund to have it all paid back next year closed. But not quite.
The downstream side from that has been brushed and dredged in what, last 2 years?
All the money's been spent on the open,
But I mean, it has been opened up downstream, so it's,
except for this big chunk now that it's bounced back in the black. They found out that when they were fixing tile, that the tile had collapsed.
Well, they're out there working, they might as well fix it.
That's what Frank's here today to represent Hicks Farms. Frank, you want to come on up, add to this?
Well, the estimate here I got, he said not to exceed 4730. That's there. The estimate that he gave me this morning
Okay.
on this tile. Thought 4130 would do it.
that gets it to the point where it changed in size or
Yeah,
something
that's
like that.
what I put in, I put double wall in.
Okay, and that-
Yeah,
I should finish
and I
the,
should fill it, and it should never give it, I shouldn't give any trouble.
And he's putting dual wall perforated tile, 15-inch.
Yeah,
The end of next year, that carries us more about 500 bucks.
And, you know,
We've talked about this before, it's gonna pay it back.
Yeah.
Where do we start to start?
Yeah.
From soon, the Daniel Drainage Improvement Fund is going broke.
Hmm.
I know we'll be replaced, but not where we have an emergency.
there could be a broken tile out there, but the open ditches got worked on a couple of years ago and it's in good shape, so.
yeah, everything else is good.
Problem is, you got them on the job site,
Yeah,
you know,
This is something we didn't know till we found out about it.
and now, I know, but I'm just saying,
Right.
you know, now's the time to, instead of a year from now, coming back when you got the money.
And if we keep having problems, maybe we could raise it to $7 or $8 an acre. But if we don't, we'll level off.
Yeah, you could do that, and then we get so much money in the fund, just, you know,
but you gotta have it here to do that, right?
Yeah, we have to have a public hearing. We'd have to have it next year if we see the
Can we raise it 10% without a?
25%
We can raise it 25% without hearing?
without a public hearing.
raise it 25%. What I do. I probably got the most water going in it, or as much as
Would
anybody.
that get us where we need to be? Keep us in the black?
5%.
What is it an acre now, $5? So we add $1.25 to the
Yeah,
acre. I don't know how many acres is going into the watershed.
800-ish.
Yeah,
Yeah, the total acreage was what, Mary? You just said that on this.
You know, I don't think we've ever technically raised without
I
the
know.
request, but
If we can officially do it, and they're wanting to fix it,
once it's done, yeah.
we could be.
Is that something that was coming on?
Yeah, 795 acres, that's How many acres you have in?
Oh gosh, I'll have probably 50 or 60 is mine.
That'd be the way you get our money back quicker.
Think we can legally do it, and here's a guy that on that he wants to fix. I think he would vote for it, you know.
Is that without advertising?
I think so. I'll have to look.
Yeah, probably what we ought to do is, we ought to just, clear that with our attorney, make sure that, since I don't ever remember doing that.
No, I don't
As
either.
part of it. We check what we can do and bring it back next time, and we can take some action on that. That sounds all right, Frank?
Yep, sounds fine.
Okay.
We need to vote to borrow out of the general grant improvement fund to get this fixed.
Are we gonna go ahead and fix it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Need a motion for that.
well, what we need to do is, right now, we've got the first batch of claims, and, you know, we just wanted to talk about that. So we'll pay these claims, and then we'll act on the Massey Creek here in just a minute.
I'll make a motion on the plan.
Kenny has made a motion to approve the first batch of claims.
I got a question, Poe addition, is that Poe drain, is that the Poe addition?
That tile.
And is it in the,
It was in the subdivision.
subdivision?
Yes.
Okay.
And what it was an old cistern or something that was, come over and tapped into it or something. And that was where it was tapped in. Something happened without our knowledge years ago. It's been in a few years,
Yeah, it's been several years.
but it's fixed now. It's right in the right of way.
Okay.
Okay, I'm still waiting on a second. Okay, Gordon is second, and then. So we have a motion, Kenny, second, Gordon, to approve the first batch of claims as presented. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye. Aye, it is unanimous. What we'll do is, we've already approved basically paying this $10,290. So that work goes forward, and then we will check with the attorney on what we exactly have to do to go ahead and bump that up without the full advertising and all. And we'll make a decision on that next week, next month now.
We don't want to hide anything, we want
No.
to make sure we're legal.
I mean, this is needs to be moved in an expeditious way, and so we'll do it legally, but we want to do it right.
And I'll research the code number and read it before I call Kyle, so I
Okay.
can tell him the title.
Okay,
All right?
all right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Are
Frank.
they gonna go ahead and fix the rest of that, or borrow the $4,000 or whatever to finish that, or?
Technically, we hadn't voted on that yet. We can vote on that here in a little bit, or if you
Okay.
guys want to go ahead and approve that now, that's up to you, since Frank's standing up and voting.
We've already talked about it, haven't we?
You can make a motion, good. I won't rule it out of order.
So,
Okay, we've got Kenny making a motion to go ahead with the request for maintenance on Massey Creek in the amount of $1,438. Is that the right one?
No, I
Uh,
got $4,130. That's
okay,
what the finish is.
4,100, okay,
Not to exceed 4730 on that paper that I have.
okay,
You have the same paper, or
I know.
here?
No, ours said 41.
There's a nine, it's 41, but you've got not to exceed. There's a not to exceed
at the
bottom. You've got not to exceed over here.
Okay, thanks.
This is what's supposed to be, but it's not to exceed.
All
You
right.
can Just keep that.
His estimate is 4130, and then in his description, he's got not to exceed 4730, so.
they're out there now, right?
Yeah, they're out there.
So we would entertain a motion to approve the John's Repair quote as presented.
Is that what you made? You can make that motion.
Yeah, I'll make it. Yeah.
I'll second.
All right. Mr. Cates has made that motion and Mr. Goff has seconded that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank
guys have a
you.
Good day.
We will go back to our, paying bills, the second batch, please.
IMI Stone, $971.17 on the Powers drain. There's 48,219 in the fund. IMI Stone, $889.10 on the Powers drain. And IMI Stone, $1,381.26. This is for number 8 stone around the tile. Again, there's 48,219 in the fund. Cut above tree service, $3,500 on Back Creek, $90,871.87 in the fund. This was, to open up the stream on the east side of Second Street Bridge in Jonesboro and cut down some brush and stuff that was, hindering the flow. And then Bragg Excavating, $2,131 on Big Deer Creek, $56,144 in the fund.
What did Bragg do?
He came in and cleared that easement was growing up. He tried bush hogging it and he had 3 flat tires from the thorn trees growing up in that easement. And then, what did he end up using?
Cat with a grinder of some kind in front of it.
Yeah, he ended up finishing it up with that.
Basically went from road to road.
Yeah, the whole way through that farm.
Why didn't they spray that?
Well, we've been waiting. There's areas of it that needs brushed. A lot of people's kept it clean, but we've been waiting for the money to build up and get this other area brushed this fall. We got a plan to take quotes on it, get that brushed with this money, and then as soon as that money gets in there, put it on a spray program. And keep it sprayed, the whole ditch, hopefully.
I don't think you're gonna have enough money to spray the whole ditch. That's a long ditch.
It is a long ditch.
But if we could get the lower end cleaned, let's keep it sprayed or try to, you know.
I've got,
But you know
I've
what?
got about 3 miles. That's part of it. I've got mine sprayed, but, some of them haven't, so.
The guy that's on this one will be back next year.
Yeah, you're right.
Want to go mow, want somebody to go mow it again, all right?
It's like a roadside. But he mows the roadside, but he doesn't want to mow this.
Well, I understand why, 3 flat tires.
Yeah, he didn't make a whole lot of money time he brought the other machine in.
But if he,
Finished up.
if he's mowed it now, my point is the farmer or the mower.
You know, when we get Richard up, we could bring that up for a vote sometime and rediscuss this on bush hogging the right easements. But whether I want to or not.
Bragg got a 6-foot mower, okay? Or tractor or something. It's not the safest way, getting a 6-foot mower on a Ford tractor over by the bank,
No,
okay? But then he goes, this is the second time he's done this. I don't think there needs to be a third.
second or third, maybe. This might be third. Well, Don used to do it, I know, before he had his back surgery.
He still has renters. And he can make that part of
Yeah.
the deal.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, I don't tell him how to run his business. He's not gonna tell me how to run mine.
No, I mean, if there's thorn trees down through there, he don't wanna do it.
But if he keeps it mowed, we've got it down, he keeps it mowed, it won't be a problem.
That's right.
All right, we've got the second batch. And Gordon's supposed to abstain, so
I'll make a motion.
Pat has made the motion to approve the second batch.
I'll second.
And Kenny has seconded that. Any other discussion?
The only thing I want to make the comment on this, and I told you, and I think I've told these other guys, the difference between, on IMI, the difference between the county price, the county trucks is hauling their own. When we get stone here and so forth, we're hired at haul. So that's where the difference is, we're paying the trucking on it, okay? So,
And it's,
And they're gonna place the stone right where they need it, most likely. I mean, if we had a bigger, job that county could just use their trucks, dump it for us, and then they could put it in later, we'd save some of that money, but that's where some of that is going.
it's not gonna
yeah,
work.
but I'm just,
I know where this one's going, and they haul it in as a needed, rather
Yeah.
than,
but we're getting to a place where when we put in 18-inch or better, Ratco is wanting it lined with 8s. So I mean, we have to have them all in, okay? So that's where the difference is in price.
yeah.
But technically, we are getting a good price.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If you didn't have the hauling, you
That's right. Yep. All right, we do have a motion with support. All those in favor of the second batch of invoices would say aye. Aye. Did you say aye? That you made the motion? All right, that is carried. I should say, any abstentions?
I think,
Carried 3-1 abstention. And next and last batch, please.
Cook Excavating, $925 on where Stony Creek enters Pipe Creek, $147,000 in the fund. Cook Excavating, $1,100 on Pipe Creek. Again, there's $147,000 in the fund. And then Cook Excavating, $1,150 on Pipe Creek. These are on 3 different, landowners. One was in IMI property. The other 2 was on Graham. Farmer's name, I remember Graham, but
I know, I can't,
Kenny probably knows him.
Vogel.
The Vogel farm,
Or,
Vogel. And these were cleaning up, straighten banks and clean up old burn piles from past log jams, these last 2. And then we have, the 4th one is Bragg Excavating, $8,107.92 on Taylor Creek. There's $242,000 in the fund, and I did have pictures. We fixed 3 one-eroded bank and kind of hogged out the creek to get it flowing there. In 28 years, it's never been touched. The rest of it's been dredged and brushed from 9th Street going south. But it was 2,000 for stone. The rest was all excavating. The spoil got leveled with the bucket. So he got a lot of work done. One large log jam, my property's been clear cut at 800 feet, but these logs are coming from that woods to the south. Gonna burn the pile.
make a motion, we pay these 4 claims.
Motion, Mr. Goff. Second. Second, Mr. Pinkerton. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those abstaining? Carried, 3-1 abstention. We have paid our bills. Under old business, no movement yet with Crane Pond, new business. Monroe of Luger Creek, Dan Spencer Maintenance.
He's got a maintenance request, and I know we're working at 2 other spots. There's not really 128,000 in that fund, but it does have a fund. I think Raymond dropped a picture off. And do we have an estimate yet, or we're gonna receive quotes in the near future, right?
Send it out for quotes.
Okay,
I'm concerned about the money in the fund, and the distance.
right. But we'll see what they get, and they do have a fall collection that's coming in.
Yes.
So pretty much this is, just a heads up that, we're putting out for quotes right now.
Right,
Okay,
and we're gonna try and tackle this on what's money's in there. But we're fixing two, Ron McRoush and somebody else fixing erosion problems right now.
West Bowl.
Gus Bowl. Next one?
Monroe of Luger.
Yeah, I talked to Brett Goff. He's got, filter strips out there. Again, we're still operating off 128,000. We brushed that last season and dipped that out. And it seems like, the only thing growing out of the spoil bank is thorn trees. And how tall are they? You looked at them?
They're 4 or 5 foot tall and just, they need the hair on a dog.
Yeah, his question, what's the county gonna do? Cause if he's gonna lose his set aside if we let it grow up in thorn trees, you know?
It appears to be about 500 feet long where they dumped out the spoil out. There must have been pods or something in the dirt and it loved the conditions and.
And now it gets sunshine all the time, so what's the board wanna do? Do we bush hog them or do we spray them or?
If it's in government ground, he's got a good set aside, he needs to maintain it. Is that part of the rule that when you put it in set?
Well, yeah, he's afraid he's gonna lose it if the county don't take care of their thorn trees.
They'll only let you mow the thing once a year, and
They got a certain time.
yeah, I think
But I don't
Isn't that
know,
right?
I'm not sure what we have in it. You know, I'm just,
We put the spoil on the set aside and the trees grew out of the spoil that got
But
through.
we put it right at the top of the bank. We try to keep it restricted so it wasn't on the set aside a whole lot, but it is a little bit, I'm sure, because we didn't have no room.
I don't know where did we stop and where did he start? Where does he take over?
That's you guys'
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make,
we should have leveled the spoil out
and leveled it
and
out,
reseeded. Let him reseed
you
it.
know.
Well, that's still,
They could-
that's still a possibility to come in and run a bulldozer over it a little bit and then reseed it.
That's better than flat tires.
Mm-hmm.
So the spoils were never leveled out.
No, they were leveled.
We were leveled it, and he didn't maintain it, keep it in the set aside.
Yeah, he didn't do nothing.
Okay. Some of this is his responsibility, I think. I don't know what.
He could come in, I think it's sometime in August and mow. Okay.
I know when the county cut down all their trees on my property, that 800 feet, I had a lot of work to do. It was a lot of, they're just, you know, a lot of times excavators are not landscapers.
No.
I picked up rocks and sticks for a whole year. Thoughts? It looks leveled, like it was leveled pretty good, I thought.
Yeah.
Sat right there and looked at it. That was before everything grew up. We didn't seed it.
We have it in set aside.
His part,
So to what degree are we really culpable in this?
I don't think we're very far into the set aside. Kept it right at the top of the bank.
He did what he wanted because he didn't want to put it in the set aside.
Well, actually, he let us go in there. It didn't benefit him to do the dipping that got done. It was for other,
People,
yeah, as far as.
to keep the water moving downstream. It was getting away from him and giving up, but now we cut the trees down and get sunlight and weeds and the thistle plants growing, everything's growing with what needs to be.
Bragg did that mulching from road to road for 2,000, I don't know how much. 500-600 feet's not gonna cost very much, I don't know what.
But we need to have the understanding, we do this. This is his responsibility. It's set aside. Can't keep.
What happens
Do
if
we
we go?
spread it again and seed it?
Well, that's the question. If he's responsible for maintenance, we knock it down and he seeds it.
If that's set aside, don't you get money to seed it?
Yeah, Yeah, but I mean, after you throw this spoil up on there, I'm not sure they would, okay? I don't know, you just have to check it, but it don't take that much to go down through there and leave it ride or oats or something like that, and just let it grow up. You can mow it once a year, can't mow it, I don't think you're supposed to mow it close.
Yeah, you're supposed, but you can mow it once a year unless you got thistles growing up and you mow it beforehand, so it doesn't go to seed. I know that much. I don't have any set aside, but,
Well, the problem is if you got thorns, they're not.
thistles is a problem, but,
Well, I know it is,
yeah.
if you can mow them, okay, if you got thorns. They don't like tires.
Well, I'm not one to be difficult. It just seemed like
Those trees hadn't been cut since 82.
no.
That's when the Monroe ditch was clear cut last time, so I'm just telling you,
These is new trees.
they're gone now.
Okay, but they're new trees now.
They're all, yep. Get a lot more sunshine now.
But mow it, and it's his responsibility after this. Am I wrong?
So we go in and we'll chew down the trees, let him seed it.
That's, I think that's,
You know, we'll give him
Yeah,
an
that's
answer.
not hard.
Yeah.
Let him see it.
I think that's reasonable that we're taking some action on it and then he finishes up whatever the government's. He's getting money for seed.
He's getting the money from set aside. He should maintain it. We got the trees off.
So he can get a lot closer to
We're
the
going,
ditch.
going halfway, so let him go halfway and meet us.
Okay.
Instead of wanting us to do all of it. You have some responsibility as landowners along these open ditches. That's my point.
So we've got to come to some agreement, either by a vote or by common consent. That's the right thing to do. So what do you say, fellas?
It's the, we can give brag to
Mulch or whatever on the front.
Tell him you got thorns,
Oh, yeah.
take the bobcat out there,
I wouldn't think it would be all that much for 600 feet.
Yeah.
get it right down along here where the thorns are and so forth, and then turn it over to the boy and say, hey, it's yours.
Yeah. Consent or motion.
We can either do by motion or by, if everybody's agreeing to that, by common consent.
But it needs to know where he's supposed to start now. We're gonna help him. It's his baby from here on.
Okay. I'll relay that and if he wants to come to the meeting.
We'll have the minutes reflect that by common consent. We'll knock down the thorns and then he takes care of seeding. Okay? Lomax ditch and Indiana Health Center request. You want to give us the basics and then we'll have anyone that wants to talk, come up here and.
Right, I've looked over the plan. They're wanting to discharge back to the west on this property that's being developed. They will have to get permission from a landowner across the property with the tile to drain it to the west to the Lomax.
Is that
I think they're-
Bartow, Susan Bartow?
I think there's more than one. Where's this place at? This one, guys,
No, this is Marion.
Behind the
Behind
tire.
This is 38th Street. Okay, this is the property area. You want to take the water that way toward Lomax.
Is it going to?
I thought I had a map to pass around.
I think that's, I know what that's at. It's
Bartow.
Yeah, but this is 38th Street. And Lomax comes out of,
Yeah, the drainage report you emailed
it comes right down
earlier had a map. Yeah.
Bartow.
I'm not.
I just got,
Okay, just for you guys.
So Wendell used to farm. Right there.
I'm online. I'm the engineer. If you guys have any questions or you want me to walk you through the drainage report that I emailed over, I'll be happy to do that. But
Yeah, why don't you do that? Take a couple minutes to walk them through it. I think it is in the watershed.
okay.
What he's looking for is permission to outlet the tile that's gonna drain the drainage basin.
So I'll share my screen here. Hopefully that will work for you.
That's up to your court.
So as you guys mentioned, it is in the watershed. This is just a watershed map off of USGS. So this shows our site and the existing conditions. This is a map showing the existing conditions. Basically, what was outlined in green is grass currently. And this is proposed conditions. We actually were decreasing the impervious area and adding several water detention basins. So this area up here would be grass. All of these dry detention areas would be grass. But basically what we had proposed was these detention systems would be interconnected with pipes, and ultimately there would be a outlet control structure near the southwest corner of the building. We'd have a 10-inch inlet control pipe, and the side of the box structure would have a slot in it in case there was a 10-year plus rain event. And that's shown here. So that this would be the outlet control structure. Again, we'd have a 10-inch low flow control. And if the water got up about 1.3 feet in depth, there would be a 6 by 18-inch slot. And we did hydraulic modeling for that structure, and that's kind of what this graph shows. It shows the discharge out of the structure versus the height of the dry detention pond. And we did hydraulic modeling showing, so the magenta is the existing 100-year flow without detention, and the cyan is the discharge out, which is 7.44 CFS, which is less than the 10-year with all grass, which was 10.34 CFS.
Do you have permission from that landowner to put a tile across it?
The Indiana Health Center is working with both the landowner and the farmer, which I believe was Miss I think it's Bartow.
Colby, Chad is here on behalf of the owner if you'd like to get an update from him.
Okay.
So Springer is
Yeah,
with
we're-
Indiana Health Center.
We're working on that, and we can get you to come up the microphone so we can get this on record. Thank you.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we've got two landowners, Marion Health and then the farmer. We're working on that. We don't have the permission just yet though, but we are working on that.
We think today would be contingent.
Yeah.
This area, we call condominiums on behind Walmart.
Mhm.
And we've had problems in there before. Is this area in the city or the county? Because we had problems in that condominiums behind Walmart.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's both.
that's south of this.
We've got
Yeah.
the city and county. That's why we're still holding on to it, because we still have agricultural land to the far south that drains into Lomax. That's why.
The condominiums drain in a completely different direction. They go up Valley Avenue.
But they've had problems that finally got solved, I think, but there was a lot of problems.
But they don't get into Lomax.
Okay.
Now they don't go.
What size they putting in there?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What size is he putting in?
Oh, this would be a 15-inch drain line is what I would like to ask permission to ultimately discharge through this farm field and through the Marion Health. Again, the outlet control structure would detain up to the 100-year storm event. But you know, if you had a large enough rain event, it would overtop the top of the inlet. So going back to this, this structure will flow less than a 15-inch. But another reason I would like to get permission for a 15-inch is just because it's so flat. I can run a 15-inch at a little flatter slope and still get 2.5 or 3 feet per second through it versus a 12-inch pipe. So a 15-inch is preferred. You know, if the farmer or Marion Health will only allow a 12, then you know we may have to go that route. But so we're really just looking at options here, and this seems to be the best option. The only other option that we're really seeing is potentially hooking into some storm sewer on State Road 9. But it looks like that would either require working with a lot of utilities, there's a lot of utility conflicts, or potentially boring under State Road 9, which is another costly option. And again, this appears to be in the Lomax watershed, so I think it makes sense to route it this way, and we're providing the proper detention measures to do that.
So your detention calculations that you did, or you're detaining the 100-year storm event on the developed property and releasing it at up to the 10-year?
Yes.
And by pre-developed, is that what's there now, or is that grass?
I actually looked at both. So here in red is if it was just all grass, because I think you and I spoke earlier, or we discussed some of this with the Marion Utility Board, and you had mentioned that we may have to hold to grass conditions. So existing as it is now, the 1 year is 7.73. If it was all grass, it would be 3.76. The 2 year is 5.46, and the 10-year with grass is 10.34. So going back to the hydrographs, it looks like I got a sheet out of order. I don't know if I did that when I was talking to you guys, or this sheet should be down here. So the 10-year proposed is held to basically the 2 year pre-developed. We're slightly over it. I mean, I can modify my detention ponds if that's needed, but we had a 5.73 CFS discharge. The 2 year all grass is 5.46. That's for a 10-year. And then the 100-year, again, was held to less than the 10-year with grass, under all grass.
So you based your discharges on pre-developed, taking it back to grass?
Yes. I am slightly over the 2 year versus 10, but again, I can widen those ponds a little bit if that's needed.
Windows working on that roof on Lomax.
Yeah, what window has for this field and this field.
Well, they're around to do it with.
Yeah.
He dipped it out.
Field section back there.
Exit the car fields.
Yeah. He did that work right across.
Yeah.
Okay. So somewhere right in there, something, the assumption where they could keep working that west.
And you know, as development in this area the more retention we can have, the bigger the ponds can be for any development in this whole area, because whether it goes west or goes to the city's storm drains, it all ends up in Boots Creek and comes right through town. It's overloaded right now anyway. So whatever you could do on pond size or drainage basins.
Well, that's why it's important when you're looking at pre-developed discharge rates to look at grass, not what's there now, because you're not really making any improvements. If you look at it as asphalt, because that's what it is now.
Right.
I like this, I contact Mr. Gates, he's the farmer on this. And I think we need to get his feedback, even though he's not the owner, he's farming.
He's close.
Pardon?
He's close.
He's right there.
Yeah, no, he's close.
And I thought maybe they were the ones farming it and, you know, they would have to talk to them about the farm tiles. Cause I think they do know where the tiles are in that field, what would be affected.
I do have a question. Next question. I'll state my name.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Kevin Cates. We farm for Susie Bartow, the land that you guys want to cross. I guess my question is, what is, Marion Health is going across the road into the sewers, correct, for the water? Colby, is that correct, you know?
You're talking for the water main?
Yes.
Yes, I believe we will need to have a water main crossing, State Road 9 to connect their water service, correct?
But as far as
stormwater. He's talking about the adjacent property for Marion Health, not Indiana Health Center.
Yes.
Marion Health does have a storm system that goes into the NDOT system currently.
Okay.
Well, they go both ways.
Yeah, and they also,
35th Street and down to about the Avenue and into the Lomax.
They can go
Down
down
there.
retention pond behind Carter Lumber is where the Marion Health goes.
Yeah, and that goes up to 35th Street and then west.
and
And
then
then
water
down
comes
below.
from,
There-
the water comes through,
Their sanitary and their water supply comes off by that.
right, yeah.
And you guys have contacted them and that's, I think,
Yes.
yep. Well,
Well,
but it's kind of gotten shot down or what's?
No, no,
Oh,
we're
no.
just, it's still, basically the crux of this is that we've been trying to get everything figured out for a couple months now, and it's
Yep.
been a slog of a process, working with NDOT and everything like
Okay.
that. We're wanting to break the ground, I mean, as soon as possible, that certainly before winter. And so we're trying to, we met with Marion Utilities to determine the best way to get water to the site and also to sanitary and storm. Had a conversation with Colby and everybody here, the contractor is Bowman. So he did some analysis on the options that we had, and kind of as we went through everything, we thought that this was the best option. And so Indiana Health Center is working with Marion Health and the farmer to obtain that easement, but they just started that process in the last 2 weeks. So it takes a little while to work through that, but in the interest of trying to be timely, we wanted to try to explore these paths simultaneously so that we don't get just sitting here and then all of a sudden it's November. And we don't have a way to get into the ground this fall. So I think that's kind of what brought us here today.
I think what you're asking is, did we ask Marion Health to tie into their storm
Yes.
system?
Yes, we did that, got shut down. Okay, that's why.
Because detention pond's not big enough, it would have to
Yep.
be expanded and all sorts of.
So you do have to bore under the highway for water supply,
Yeah.
correct?
Most, most likely, or take it to 38th Street.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I'm not opposed for discussion about the
Yeah.
tile, I just
Yeah.
am more curious.
I just wanted to make sure I answered.
Yep, sorry.
And there have been conversations about making sure we have adequate ground cover for the farmland too,
Okay.
so that you don't have any issues with that.
May I ask what that is, if there is one, like a minimum?
I mean, we'd like to be 3 foot. I don't know if you'll be able to get that or not.
Yeah, 3 foot's gonna be real tough.
For cover, for bottom cut.
Right now, Kobe, I think you're at, what, 18 inches covered?
Yes, I think 18 inches will be possible. I mean, we could lower it a little bit, but if if the creek comes up, then our pipe backs up, obviously, and, so yeah, I would rather not come in at the bottom of the ditch. Would like to come in a couple feet off the bottom if possible.
Well, 18 inches is pretty hard to farm on top of. I mean,
That's gonna be a drought.
leave that up to drainage board. Not a lot of cover.
Yeah, I mean, this plan sheet here has, elevations that we were planning. And you can see we've got a couple manholes, near the, property to the south, lead pace. Just to kind of mark the line so everybody would know where it is, but, we had a rim elevation of 46.7, an invert out of 44. So, and it's if we're talking a 15 or 12 inch pipe, that puts you right at about 18 inches of cover.
That's not very much cover.
Is this something, if the easement was grass, that the developer would mow along with the regular maintenance of? If you're not gonna be able to farm over 18 inches.
Is this at the edge of the property or through the center?
And it's going
It's the south edge.
because of the property lines.
Yeah.
For the residential, you can't really run along the south edge of the field. So you're cutting.
As far as, maintaining it as a grass strip, that's not something that I've even discussed with, Indiana Health Center, so I would have to run that back by them. Again, this is all, the main thing we're trying to do is, see if we have drainage. If this drainage concept is okay with the board, and then of course, we would have to run a lot of these issues by the homeowner and Marion Hospital and get their approvals on what they're okay with in regards to the easement.
So we farm on both sides of where they want this line.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be farming across.
I think
Which this is gonna be a private tile, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be.
No,
not gonna
it's
be
private.
ours to maintain, it's
It's
gonna
private.
be there, so I mean, that's really,
But
that'll be the agreement between Indiana Health and the property owner. Use the renter.
And someday I'd like to see a bigger pipe from the highway department under Valley Avenue. That would
That's a
help.
whole nother.
Yeah, but that'd help keep that area flowing. It's just a little constricted there.
Yeah.
You get a heavy rain, it jumps up to the top of the ditch bank. It don't go out too often, but it could easily be, about the top of water.
for 2 cents worth, I think they need to have a little, before they come to here, they need to have a better deal of what they're gonna do.
Well, I think like Michelle pointed out was that they haven't worked things out with the property owner yet, but they want to know, is it okay with the drainage board? If they can work those details out to discharge.
That's the question today. Can they discharge in our easement drain?
And as far as the discharge goes and the detention, I mean, I would say, yeah, they can. But there's a lot of details
They got,
that they're gonna have to work out yet. This is the easy one. I think it's gonna be more difficult to figure out the cover going across the farm field. Because that's not a deep ditch.
No, it's not at all.
There's no
It
one
needs-
needs to grade on.
It has to be cleaned out in regular.
The Lomax ditch just doesn't, it's not deep. It's
No, I
pretty
don't know.
shallow.
Window went under and cleaned out here
Yeah.
a year or two ago.
Yeah.
It needs to maybe, if it can't get deep, it needs to be wider. When we use our maintenance fund in the future, if somebody we could pull one slope back a little bit, make the bottom a little wider to help.
still need fall.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, wider's not gonna help
This,
this property drain
No.
into it.
not now, but future development, you gotta think about that. The outlet needs to be bigger.
Reservoir wise.
18 inches just don't sound very deep.
And you know, Wendell's been the one that's kept it clean and dredged, because it is pretty flat where it makes the big loop and then comes back around, crosses Miller the second time, and then turns into Boots Creek, which is a non-regulated drain.
Just to be clear on the 18 inches, that was from the top of the pipe to the ground. But yeah, I mean, I do understand that's still not real deep. And that's something we can definitely work with the property owner, you know, if they tell us we need to lower to 6 inches to a foot, we can definitely try to do that.
Still gonna go, you're still gonna go in the same ditch. If it's not deep enough, it's not deep enough. You know.
We'd like to have 30 inches.
I don't know if that's, I don't know, we can say, yeah, if they agree,
No,
farmer and owner.
it's up to those
Yeah.
guys to,
We just have to accept the
you
water.
know,
That's what we've got to
but I mean,
decide to do.
the problem with this is they put an 18-inch tile in, they might have to either lease it by the farm. Okay? That way, it don't make no difference where it is. Then they can put it in grass. That got nothing to do.
It seemed to me they didn't do the paperwork before they came.
Well, I understand what they're after. They want to know if they could dump in the low match. You know,
It's already overloaded, right?
yeah, now, is low match a private tile or is that county?
It's county.
That's county.
Well, if they get to dumping in the low max, they're gonna have to participate in the.
Yeah, they'll be paying a maintenance tax, and it's on our annual maintenance tax. So we'll check if some reason they've been left. Huh?
Are they already paying it?
I don't know.
A ditch tax?
If they're not, they're gonna add them on.
They call the whole side of the bypasses, I think.
Okay. I think Bradner was before the, correct?
Bradford.
Bradford, yeah.
So are we wanting more information, or are we in principle saying we'll accept water if it's agreed to and
That'd be my recommendation.
principals are happy?
If that's okay with it, that'd be my
Yeah, I mean,
recommendation.
after having the conversations earlier and looking at the design, I'm all right with it from a county perspective, but they've got to work out the details with the property owners. That goes beyond our. But as long as we're gonna do a 210-100 design and the pre-developed rates are going back to grass, I'm good with it. We need a motion?
I think that would be appropriate, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve it based on the 210-100 design as presented and contingent upon them working out the details with the property.
I think we have the components there. I just clarify in that motion, I think that earlier we talked about not only the landowner, but the renter. That would be fair, wouldn't it?
Well, but the landowner could do what he wants and have somebody else rent it, you know, but since we have the renter here, I think we need that, get his expertise.
And the renter's been helping with improvements.
Yeah.
Each one have.
I'll second that.
Right, we have a motion with support to approve this based on the actions of the landowner and renters working with the development corporation. Any other questions on that? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I believe that carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, next up. Massey Creek. Frank's already been here.
We can pass on that one.
Yep, we take care of that.
Yeah.
Then other business, Eastern Marion.
Transmission line project, for Charles, Jankowski. And he asked if there was a permit needed. Their structure's already crossed Grant County drains. And there's no permit process for this board that's needed, but we can give them our approval. Our easement was there before them. But, and I can read what they're gonna do, which is very little. But they're not gonna affect our drains at all, so we just need a drainage board approval that, their existing lines, they're gonna make improvements on their existing lines that's already there. And here's an example. Big Deer Creek drain, no crossing or encroachment within 75 feet of structure. They're putting a new line across there. Long Branch ditch, timber matting crossing over drain, but no new structure within 75 feet. Heimlich drain, timber matting crossing over drain, but no new structure within 75 feet. Wise Fisher Buck drain, timber matting crossing over drain, but no structures within 75 feet. So the timber matting's just gonna be there to track on to put the new metal poles in to update. And then that's coming out. Hog Creek, Jasper drain, timber matting, but no structures within 75 feet. And the Ballinger drain is the other one. Timber matting crossing over drain, but no new structures within 75 feet. So I think the board just needs the approval that we're okay with them working in our drainage easement on making improvements to their line.
This is electricity, right?
Yeah.
Traditionally,
All overhead.
when they come in, drop the mat, after they pull the mat, the work's done, do they restore to original condition, or do they just leave it alone after they tramped it down?
Some of them quit that deal because it got too high priced. They put the stone in, then digging the stone out, get the stone away.
I didn't.
I mean.
And it might be, this is quite a few pages. It might be in it, they'll grass it, I don't know.
They started out with that on the first mile or two, and just put the stone.
Yeah. Well, this says all mass.
I don't mind the work, I do think that we ought to have some type of condition or statement. We're expecting it to be returned to its original condition.
Where's it going across Big Deer Creek? No?
Show map 2, show map 2 of 19. Well, that's Big Deer Creek downstream from where it's not a county drain.
It's not. County drain, we don't have any control over it.
At that location, remember it goes. Sheet 2 said.
Big Deer ends at, just south of.
Oh, yeah, this is down close to the river. There's a natural creek right there. Now, some of them others have got to be county drains, so that's just an example. But on the condition that they'll restore the grass.
That's would be my concern.
Okay. That might be in there somewhere. There's a lot of pages.
I just don't want them walking away from that and our.
And he'll be waiting on Mary to do the minutes of vote for it's okay to work in our easement. Their easement. These are all just pictures. I do not see any writing about what's going to happen.
if someone makes a motion like that, just please throw in the original, restore it to.
Make a motion, they can do it, as long as we put it back to original condition.
Here we go. There is a motion. Kenny Gates,
I'll say.
Pat seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor would say aye.
I,
I believe that's unanimous. All right.
Excuse me, I'm an impatient old man. Pat knows that. I also talk a lot. There's,
For the,
my name's Dan Spencer.
Thank you.
Okay? You guys passed us a long time ago and Raymond didn't say, hey, get up there and say what you had to say. Well, we were there,
where'd we pass you up?
way back.
Mr. Rowe, Luger, New
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, that's all
I
right.
had writing down beside it and I thought we had already cleared that.
Well, this is the first time some of us have been to a drainage board meeting. We probably should have been many times.
They want specifics on it more than what we touched on.
Well, just if you could, I said, we have a lady out here who's worried about which side of the ditch you're gonna dip on, and I said, you know, I don't, for the group that we're going through, we don't have a problem, so, you know,
So just like.
87-year-old sitting out here, we'd probably like to go sit in his recliner. I apologize.
I'm a 60-something and I like to sit in my recliner. You want to make comment on the dipping, Jim? Or?
We was gonna, brush it and dredge it to wherever you designate us to.
Okay, this is more up to us to decide where and when.
So we'll take the prices later this fall, then we'll keep you posted so you can come to the meetings. If you've got a side that you don't want cut, now's the time to tell us. And where'd my map go, Mary? That old pile of stuff.
She has a question on which side.
Yeah, so I'm Julie White. I'm the owner on the west side of the road ditch.
Okay.
South.
You're on the north side of.
Yeah, so I'm on the north side of the 100, on the west side of the ditch. So the ditch right now provides privacy on the whole east side and the whole south side of my property. And, so I'm concerned about my side being the one that gets dredged.
And you want it from the opposite side, right? Yeah.
well, it depends on horse.
I mean, what's the criteria for determining which side of the?
Well, usually it's the path of least resistance. If two people, neither one of them want the trees cut, the drainage board would look at it, and it's the natural path where it's normally dredged at.
Wasn't sure how that was determined,
That's usually how it is. And then, we can even switch back and forth if we need to accommodate you. Your name, ma'am, is what?
Julie White.
That's Julie White. And what's a good phone number to get a hold of you for the drainage board secretary?
765-744-9209.
Raymond, you make a note of that too, for property.
I like it working on the start. Well, I don't think, tell them who you are.
74492.
So, where will they start on the ditch, on the road ditch?
What's your name so that we have?
Shipley,
Shipley? Okay.
Larry Shipley.
He's asking when a start date or something.
Well, we need to take your information we're taking right now. We'll go out and look at it and then get some specifications together. And we gotta send it out at least 7 days before a drainage board meeting. We usually go about 10, 12 to at least 3 interested parties. And we usually pick about 10 contractors and we take the prices, and we'll know that date down the road later. And we could notify you to come and listen to the prices that come in.
Well, I would like to know, when would someone come out and look? Now, have you, is it on concrete that you are gonna do the road ditch?
If you're requesting it,
requested or not.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's the work technically we've already approved, right?
yeah, and the board will, take quotes and then pick a contractor, and then, you know, it's the surveyor's job to make sure the contractor does what he's supposed to out there for you.
It need to start on the south end and go all the way to the north.
Okay. Well, I've been to the south end, I've been to the head wall before. And go how far to the north? Raymond had it on a map.
Yeah, the last stretch up by 18 has been dredged and brushed. I didn't know if you guys were wanting to go that far, if you wanted to stop at Hurlin's line or.
The senior part of the group wants you to go as far as you can go. Okay.
All the way to 18 then? I mean, it hasn't been hit by the county for a long time, years. So,
Kind of portion of it, he said it might have been twice in over 50 years. Another thing, they're gonna be a spraying program.
There could be if you want to spray. If, once the money gets built back up and,
So if the money stay with the ditch,
yeah.
Yes.
does stay with the ditch.
yeah, she keeps track of the Mary here, keeps track of the funds. It's all checked by State Board of Accounts. They can't use, now, I don't know, do they have their own maintenance on the tail end of it or?
This is Luger Creek and tributaries, and it's a huge ditch that covers all the way up from,
So we work on that clear to the river with your money, but it can't go anywhere else other than Luger Creek and tributaries. And a lot of tributaries have been cleaned.
So when can we look, forward to someone coming and looking at the ditch?
we'll probably,
Hey, someone gotta come and look.
we'll probably be there as soon as Crops let us in there to get the measurements that we need.
Right. This is the Drainage Board Secretary's phone number, and that phone number is also mine.
Yeah.
We share that phone number. Yeah. And,
Then he can probably rate.
Mary, if you can get his phone number and you can give us your name again,
I will.
and we'll keep you posted on everything, what's going on.
Have we touched on those things?
That was good. The next time-
I apologize.
No, that's fine. That's the first time here. It's how you learn. The next time we know, whenever we're brought up, somebody will be up here.
Be hollering.
Pat and I figured, or I'm gonna tell him why people don't come to the Eastburg School Board meeting. It's because. Thank you.
Because someone talks a lot.
You, though. Thank you.
So we're good now on Monroe.
My name is.
Oh, what's your?
Okay.
Basically, you guys just need to stay in touch with Jim and make sure.
Yeah, I said, but
If anybody wants to,
people have questions.
Yeah.
if anybody wants to meet me out there and show me something direct, like Mrs.
Yes.
White,
You wanna show him something, Kyle? No, we just, I think.
I'll call them, you know, make appointments and we'll look directly at their problem.
Our only concern is, like I told Raymond, I said, we have 2 15-inch tile building coming into the ditch. We had Chuck Fullicam clean it out and we paid it out of our own pocket, but he didn't go far enough. The spring, it's the water, of course it isn't now because there's no water in the ditch, but, you know, half full, so, you know, a little concerned. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
All right.
One more.
We'll go to Isaiah Wall now, Jerry Schultz.
Yeah, Jerry Schultz, there's 9,205 in that fund. He does not want his ditch sprayed and I sent him all the chemicals that we sprayed on his property. And he just wants the manner of the minutes and a vote
I'll write it
that
up.
the board's not gonna spray his property. You know, the trees are small, they turn brown, and some of the mist got on other trees that are, they're in the easement, but he keeps it real nice and mowed back there. He wants a vote out of the board that we're not gonna spray on his property.
Is he?
He's got farmland on each side of it.
I know where he
Jumps down through his place, there's other ground that comes through this.
I know that. I was at the river, she said, that's. Yeah.
got trees, we're gonna have the same thing with trees. We don't see no house. Yeah, we're gonna have the same thing sometime, taking care of the trees.
Like you said, Gordon, if he agrees to keep the brush down on his little section, then we don't have to spray.
See,
You agree
understand?
to those, that?
Understands, trees, if they fall in the ditch, it's gonna be his problem.
Whatever vote he gets today, he wants the minutes. And we'll know if the city chamber comes back.
We don't get them till they're approved.
Right. I told him he'd have to wait a little bit, but he just wants something in writing that the board won't spray on his property anymore.
Kind of creating a dilemma in that.
You know,
It's in the plan.
You gotta still have to do it if he doesn't vote his part.
they killed everything on him and then they didn't kill nothing on Taylor Creek. They did one little circle and forgot the 800 feet. You know, and I wanted my stuff sprayed.
Let's put it this way.
What do you want to do?
Yeah. Sometime we're gonna have to come down through there and ditch that.
Did better.
When we come through there and ditch it, if he does not want spoil put on his bank, he gets to pay for the dump truck to haul it out. If he doesn't do a satisfactory job, keeping the brush down and so forth, when we come through and do all the ditches, unfortunately, we're gonna do his.
Well, last time we didn't have to dip it out because we had dipped out downstream and his was about close to being on grade. We were able to go on the other side and start with a sediment hole and get Harry Pearson's farm drained because it was fall.
Well, you might as well
So that will put that in there.
get all this out
Right.
now, you know, because, but the guys, Brad, probably might have come across this place.
I don't know that we need to even address that right now, because we're not doing any work, and in 10 years or 5 years, when we do it, we'll address it then, and in the meantime, I'm not in favor of promising anybody that we're not gonna spray, because then you're locked in for the, you know.
Yeah.
For forever.
Well, that was
If it
his
needs sprayed,
request.
So if he doesn't want us to spray, then he needs to keep it cleared and looking nice, and then we won't, when we go to spray the area, we can have our contractor look at it and say, yeah, we don't need to spray it.
That would probably satisfy him.
Can't satisfy everybody.
If you say you're not gonna spray it, and you may let it grow up into, you know, wildlife habitat, and then you're not gonna have any choice, you're gonna have to tear it to pieces, so.
He keeps it nice and mowed. It's like a park back there, you know?
Yeah, if he doesn't want it sprayed, then next time we're out there looking to spray, we just need to take a look at it and see if it needs it. If it doesn't need it, don't spray it. He's taking good care of it.
And I'll make sure as long as I'm surveyor, it doesn't get sprayed.
Well, if it doesn't need sprayed.
Right, it's gonna be on the board. Board's gonna have to vote. In the future, yeah.
I think anything, whether it's this request or any other request, I think the board reserves the right to do what is necessary to maintain the ditch, even if there is a gentleman's agreement that we may not be doing spraying for that particular portion of land, that we still have the right to do it if it's not maintained.
And we are agreeing to what's maintained. Right?
Chair usually doesn't make motions.
And can that be worded in a motion?
She can do anything with recording.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, Mark just said, okay.
Pat made a motion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, to say we're not gonna spray a property, just blanket, I mean, that defeats
the purpose
of.
Yeah,
And it's just a few hundred feet.
Yeah, but if it's a few hundred feet, he doesn't maintain it.
Right, it blocks drainage for years.
That's right.
Second this motion, so we get on with it.
All right,
We got another thing we gotta do.
all right, we got Pat's motion
I gotta
and
get the lunch back.
we've got Kenny's second, so any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, it's carried. So we got something else?
Yes.
Okay.
Make it quick.
Real quick.
I got twice in the last week, Apex has called me on these solar panels. And we've got some ditches that they cannot put over. I know 3 ditches that they're on, and they're gonna have to be. My deal is, I told him, I said, we're gonna have to be 150 foot. And Jim said the state's 75. I don't care what the state is. We're gonna have to make a motion on the drainage board that we're gonna be 150 foot from the tile, because where the washes is, you can't come back in where the tile is. You're gonna have to be 30 feet, 30, 40 feet over to the side or whatever to get enough cover to come back. You know, if you gotta come back in with a 30 and
It's a 24-inch tile now, and it's been overloaded for years. Like Kenny said, it needs to be a 30, 36, but there's not ground cover where the water flows over the tile. You'd have to move it so you can gain a few inches. But that, you know, it's like a legal question for Kyle, because we got 75-foot easement from the center of the tile. That's 150 foot that we don't want them to build on out there.
Right.
but
That tile runs through those properties at an angle, so they've got somebody signed up and they don't realize that their drainage board's gonna be a hindrance some.
the ones that signed up does
Absolutely.
not live around here. And when they got a phone call, says, we're gonna give you so much an acre, they said, send me the paperwork. And they've inherited the ground, okay? I know some of them. And another, and he knows what I'm talking about, Jim knows what, that tile drains the whole town of Sam's.
Yeah.
That drain is behind that church there. There's a riser behind there. That goes straight south.
To the field they'd like to be in, quite a
They
few
got that
feet out
thing
into
lined
the
up,
field,
okay.
quite a few feet out in the
And
field.
yeah, for 75 feet right now on each side. Is
There's
it?
150 feet that
Yeah.
they can't use.
That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, time they build and so on and so forth, but they know that I'm hot on these tile, on these county tile.
And we need to be.
And I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
we need to be on private tile.
Yes,
Okay?
private
I
tile.
mean, I don't know what the footage needs to be on private tile.
Their cable's gonna be laid at 4
If it's
feet.
laid down
That's
through a-
right where a lot of private tile.
If it's laid down through a swale, it's gonna have to be wider than 75 foot, okay? But I'd say,
I don't know that we can regulate private tile, but
Yeah, technically,
that's
we
private.
can. The mutual drains that we know are draining other fields and coming through that property. At one point, we said we thought we could probably, fudge on that a little bit as a required, because that's got to flow. That we still need to check in with our attorneys about, but, if we know there are mutual drains, we need to have those marked. And that's supposed to be a part of the, criteria from us is they have to delineate where mutual drains are before they ever begin work, so.
And then there's one part in the code where it says the county can use up to 150 foot on one side if they need it for work and stuff, but see, it doesn't say, then you'd be ignoring the other side, say, because it's not practical to work in the 75 feet on the other side. So you ignore that side and you work on 150, but it doesn't say anything about what Kenny said about 150 feet each side. We'd have to talk to Kyle and see.
Yeah, and
If it's not in the
now
code.
now you're taking property away from.
The landowner that
Landowner.
has the right to use it.
Okay, here, when I talked to this guy, I've had him out, showed him all this, the guy from Virginia come up here, you know, not that I want him, you know, but I mean, I took him over and showed him all these and what was going on. And when I come back and I said, yesterday, I told that guy, I said, you may have to come up with 500 to 700,000 to put a new tile in before you put these in. Oh, no, we won't do that, okay?
Well, they need to
He says,
sign some.
he says if a tile breaks down, we'll repair it. Well, when these is 120 years old, they're gonna break down, and I don't know if they got a bunch of Cubans that comes in here with shovels and digs these by hand, repair. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I've heard a Missouri Mule with a slip scoop works better,
You
Kenny.
can't get a backhoe in.
Missouri Mule, in my opinion.
Well, down in Florida, we got 100 Cubans down there making the.
They're not related.
I agree with what you're saying, because we gotta protect the private drainage tree.
It's gonna be a big job.
But he says they are awful close. So I think ours is the next door they're gonna knock.
Well, and they need a good drainage plan.
Very
But
good.
You got good farmland over there in Sims Township. And I know they got over 600 acres between 9th Street, 13, and 22.
Herbst is gonna be swallowed up, huh?
No, not towards her.
Okay.
Sam.
Further on out then.
South of Sims, right on the county line.
If you go a half a mile west of 13, power lines is all along 13.
Yeah, it's this area right here, see our tile is coming through this field right here, this apparently want to sign up, about where my thumb is. It outlets in a concrete structure down here and drains the whole town, so. And them other ones, so you got the Lumbo. And Lumbo and the Circle that come into this large area at an angle through these fields, where the fields look like, oh, it's a good 40 acres, but the tiles come right across them at an angle. It's messing up.
Well, that's one up there.
Plan.
Also, they don't drop it down. 1,400 acres, and that, it comes over this section. So I mean, we're the last resort, because everybody else in this section has approved them, okay? And we're the last resort. And what I'm saying is drainage, you know, right there's a guy that took and has got a farm in this here, and it's pattern tiled the farm, okay?
Is that rented land or is that?
He owns it.
No, it's all.
It's not going anywhere.
No, so, I mean, what Kenny's speaking on, we've put in Elliott tile down south. We had to move it over, you know. And you don't know how far you're gonna have to move it off of the washed land. We didn't know we were gonna have to go with a 48-inch tile. Till you start calculating.
That was beautiful.
You don't have cover. And so there's another tile over north, Cart Creek. You know, it's eventually gonna have to be replaced and it needs moved over. And we don't know how far without going out and surveying it, but, you know, 75 feet each way doesn't give you very far for your equipment.
Well, that's,
Well, now, whenever you're putting in anything bigger than 18, you're putting stone on it. We bought a bunch of stone, bunch of eights, that we've used to cover tile with when you're up there on the elevator. put stone below and on the sides and had 6, 8 inches of cover on top, right?
Yep.
Well, the power drain we're working out now, they had to move it to get depth. Wasn't breaking down, so it's way out of the easement. Where the power drain is. Get down.
We'll have to extend that easement, you know, the old ones are gonna be abandoned.
Yeah.
So we'll assume that the replacement that they're doing with the maintenance fund is. But yeah, they all gotta be moved, same way with the Simons down off of Wheeling Pike, they got 80,000 in their fund.
But
They're wanting to put a bigger tile.
So when you go to move one, and say you're going to move it out of the existing easement, you have to get the property owner's permission to do that, don't you?
Right.
We don't, I mean, there's nothing.
These are staying in the 75 feet so far.
Indiana code may give us the 75 feet each side of the tile, but
Right.
we don't have the authority to move it beyond that.
Beyond the existing easement we have.
Well, you can move the thing 40, 50 foot over, but when you come down through there, an excavator to put that in, and you got the wagon putting stone in and so forth, you need room down there. If they build over there close,
Well, you're preaching to the choir. I dig up the city streets and we don't have 75 feet. I dig up 16-foot alleys all the time and go 15 foot deep. I mean, but I'm trying to figure out, I mean, it would be nice to have 150 feet, but we can't just say we're gonna take 150 feet.
if you don't close that before you start,
But you're talking about Indiana code. You're not talking about, this is our preference, we're gonna do it.
It's a problem.
And they're gonna have attorneys.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they got.
If the existing property owners wanna sign off on that, that's great. But you can't just say, Indiana code gives us 75 feet each side of the tile, but we're gonna take 150 because
I don't think that's possible.
it's not. So our hands are tied in as much as what we can do is keep them out of our existing easement. But we can't just make up our own rules because if you could, it'll get used against you sometimes.
Part of probably the advantage of the company is that they're signing these leases, these land leases prior to ever coming and saying, we actually are gonna start the work. They've got their landowners already locked in. I don't know if they can come back and say, hey, I want an additional 50 feet on each side of any additional easement for the county drains. I don't know if they can do that or not, but I would suggest that they do.
these landowners don't even know.
No, some of them's gonna have serious drainage issues that we'll have to deal with, Mark, to get that water through.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll cooperate.
But you know, when you say something about them coming in, putting in a tile, you know, we haven't got enough money. I think, Columbo's got 37,000 or something like that in it. You know, we don't have money to do these.
You know, if we had $500,000 general drain improvement fund where we could do a reconstruction, you guys, if they're messed up out there on the Lumbo, then the farmers that are being damaged, they petition for a reconstruction. And that's the way, after your public hearing, then the solar people would have to pay their proportionate share. And that's how we get money out of them to say that the tile's shot, a new tile's gotta be, it's a $500,000 project. They would be locked into paying, but like Kenny said, they're not wanting to cough up any money up front to provide drainage. But they're gonna have a responsibility to.
The difference between having responsibility.
Ryan came online so that he could put his 2 cents in.
I don't know if I can share this or not. I'll try. Can you guys see that?
See dots?
Yeah.
Okay, that's your regulatory queue. My screen's screwed up now, so I don't know what you're seeing. But that tells us everything that's within queue. There is nothing in queue around Sims.
What do you mean in queue?
Ground's lined up.
South of Sims.
Yeah, so Well, this stupid thing, now I can't see what I'm showing you.
We're not seeing the whole county there. We're just seeing, I can't tell where we are.
Okay, do you see, is it highlighting?
Got a menu on the screen.
Is my hand moving around there?
Yep, you're on one of the dots.
Okay, so right there, that is Greentown. That's the one that Greentown just turned down. This is up Miami, County Wabash. This is Noblesville down at Falls Creek. So they have to, like Apex, would have to get into the regulatory queue to get permission to get onto the grid. This can take up to 2 years, and they're not even on here yet.
They're not on there yet, but they're still trying to get land. That's what they're trying to do.
Right. So they're not even in queue yet. So they've got at least 2 years once they get into queue. What we're being told is there's going to be a 2-year delay. Everyone that's in queue will stay in queue, and then they're not going to take anyone else for 2 years before they open the queue back up again. So Kenny had noted that
There's nothing in queue right now.
so there is nothing in queue. So we're looking at 3-4 years at least.
But we've got a little bit of time to work on how we can extend those borders with the landowners or.
What I know for a fact that they've got it signed up south of Sims.
Well, they may be leased, Kenny, but this is today's queue for MISO, which is Duke Energy that way. And then I can also pull up,
Big up there, time.
Good.
So the company hasn't filed any.
So they can lease it, but that doesn't mean they're putting
Solar
solar on it.
they're putting it in.
yeah, and I can pull up PJM, which is the other half of our county too, and know what's actually in queue.
Well, what am I supposed to tell this guy that keeps calling me?
Don't wanna.
Don't call Ryan, yeah.
They're gonna have to work with us to make sure that, we've got water that flows.
They like Kenny because he's got a big power line across the front. That's why they're wanting to take you out for steak dinner, Kenny.
I think, the way things are going, everybody stand except me. I'll entertain a motion to, yes.
Second.
Motion with support, all in favor? Aye. Thank you for your time, folks.
I've had.
Nobody told me what I'm supposed to tell this gentleman.
Oh, yeah.
Power folks, the solar people,
Yeah.
tell them that they're gonna have to work with the drainage board to make sure that water is flowing no matter what.
And
I
then,
know they've heard that.
And Kenny just talked to him yesterday, didn't you?
Huh?
You just talked to this guy yesterday, right?
I talked to him yesterday. I talked to him,
How about your dog?
last Thursday.
Okay.
You know why preachers continually preach a similar message? It's so the people in their congregation will get it through their head. That's what we gotta keep preaching to these solar farms.
Well,
You gotta work with the drainage board.
my problem is, and I know for a fact that they've got 600 acres over there already signed up.
hey,
But Ryan says it'll be a couple of years before they even get to it.
I hope he's right.
yeah, but
He is. The state paperwork isn't done. That's what he was saying.
By that time I'll be,
You know, I asked that young guy what the wind velocity that them things hold up to. He said he didn't know, but I know there's an engineer somewhere that says, okay, at 100, they start flying off. 120, they start flying off.
I don't know.
I still don't fly my way.
I just, well, I'm not,
I asked that out there at the building. For it. I know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
well,